Father Barnabas Powell is pastor of Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene, Greek Orthodox Church of Cumming, Georgia, USA. Here's Father Barnabas with Sunday's homily.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this or not. Did you know that there's a psychological disease called Munchausen syndrome? You ever heard of that before, Munchausen syndrome? It is where, and it usually afflicts women, mothers, and they actually poison their children so that they can doctor them. The confusion and delusion is so strong in them that they believe this is a good thing. They so love being able to rescue and to baby and to minister to their kids that they actually make their kids sick on purpose so that they can doctor them. To the point where some children have even lost their lives because they're so gripped by this delusion. You see, brothers and sisters, the purpose of the Orthodox Christian faith, watch this. Gang, let me tell you something. I'll give you a little hint right now. You get this truth down deep in your life. You get this idea down deep in your soul. If you wake up to this morning, 90% of all of your problems when it comes to faith are going to be solved. That sounds like a good deal. The purpose of the Orthodox Christian faith in a man or a woman's life is to wake you up to reality. But not just any reality. The delusion of our current age is so strong and so powerful, and the confusion and the chaos that seems to reign in our current culture is so pervasive that it is very difficult for men and women to deal with reality. Most of the people who come into my office, let me go ahead and just take this away from other people and draw it down to me. Most of my struggles in my life, in my spiritual life, in my home life, with my children, with my wife, with my interpersonal relationships with others, most of those problems boil down to me not wanting to deal with reality. I don't want to deal with reality. I don't want to deal with the reality that, Father Barnabas, you can no longer eat an entire meat lover's pizza by yourself. You can't do that anymore. You can't. But I want to. I understand. But it isn't wise. It isn't reality. The reality is, I no longer have the ability, nor should I have ever done that. That's an escape from reality. The delusion that we suffer from most in our lives is this delusion of living in the fantasy of either what we hope for or what we're afraid of. And consequently, what we hope for and what we are afraid of usually governs our behavior in our lives. That gripping of delusion, of fantasy, is spiritual illness, brothers and sisters. And today, this morning, the Church of Jesus Christ on this Sunday after the exaltation of the Holy Cross confronts you with the cross of Jesus Christ. In another place, Jesus says, if you're going to be my disciple, you must take up your cross and follow me. Here's a news flash for you folks that is directed to each one of you this morning. If you're going to be a follower of Jesus Christ, you must take up your cross and follow Him. But honey, ain't but one purpose for a cross. Sorry, we're going to deal with reality this morning. Ain't but one purpose for a cross. And that's to kill you. That's the purpose of the cross. So what needs to die? What needs to die in your life this morning? What needs to die in my life? What needs to be crucified in my life? What needs to be crucified in your life is being gripped by fantasy and waking up to reality. This morning, the church confronts us with the cross. And Jesus says, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world? If you're the richest man in the world, I know a very, 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 very Shall I add one more? Yes. Very wealthy man. Man's got more money. He can swim in his money if he wanted to. You know what he told me? He said, all this wealth is meaningless, Father, if I don't maintain my relationship with Jesus Christ. If I were to say His name, you'd know Him. If I were to say the company that He governs, you'd know it. It was tremendously encouraging to me to hear a man with those kinds of resources say that testimony. What does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his life? What good is it, folks, if you live every second of this short life in comfort and live in eternity divorced from being able to love God? How does that make any sense at all? And the only way you're ever going to wake up to prioritizing your life in such a way that you prioritize your faith first is to wake up to reality. Wake up to your need for your faith. Wake up to your need to being disciples of Jesus Christ. I want to encourage you this morning as I wrap this up and ask you to consider in your life one thing in your life that you would like, starting today, to crucify in your life so that you will wake up to reality. I'll run one quick rabbit trail. You know, it's a powerful thing. Did you know that pain has the ability to wake you up? You ever been woken up in the middle of the night? I sometimes sleep in a wrong way, and if I turn a certain way, I wake right up. Why? Because a shooting pain shoots down my back, and I'm going, I better change positions. That's what pain does, folks. So if you're experiencing pain in your life, look at it. Find out if that pain is telling you something in your life needs to be crucified so that you will live an awake life, escaping from the delusional slavery of fantasy and living your life as God has called you to live it. On this Back to Church Sunday, I'm so grateful for all of you being here today. On this Back to Church Sunday, I'm asking you, what needs to be crucified in your heart? Where do you need to wake up to reality and stop living in a fantasy? Whatever that fantasy that's either driven by what you're afraid of or what you're hoping for. Fantasies never lead you to freedom, folks. They always lead you to slavery. What needs to die in your life this morning? Where do you need to wake up? Regardless of what it is, Lord Jesus will be standing there waiting for you to say yes. And He'll add His strength to your weakness, and you can be healed. Amen.
You can follow Father Barnabas on YouTube or on our church website at stsrni.org. Thank you for watching.